is going on, everyone? I hope you're all doing well. Real quick, just an opportunity to try to showcase some of the most recent additions to my collection. I'm going to warn you, this is going to be an interesting one. The reason I say that is due to the fact that we have quite a wide assortment of pickups. So be prepared to see a little bit of everything throughout this video. We also have one TTM that was about a 10-month wait that we're going to showcase as well. Starting off with a couple of hot quarterback prospects. These are red, white, and blue parallels. We're going to start off with Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins looks to be the starting quarterback heading into the next season. I'm really curious to see how Ron Rivera manages to work with Dwayne Haskins. One of the things that's really big when it comes to quarterbacks is the relationship they have with their quarterbacks, quarterback-coach combo. Next, looking at who could potentially be the next Patriots starting quarterback, Jarrett Stidham. As we prepare for the NFL draft, what I would say is be on the lookout. If the New England Patriots go through the process and they draft a quarterback prospect within the first 2 rounds, then really look for them to start grooming that quarterback to really take over for Tom Brady. However, I personally have faith in Jarrett Stidham, and I'm really hopeful that he gets an opportunity. Jumping off from there, autograph pickup, neon green pulsar, Shaquem Griffin. One thing that I love collecting, really, when you look at the purpose of the hobby of collecting sports cards and autographs, it's because you find something of interest within the hobby that you connect with. One thing that I really enjoy are players who manage to overcome numerous obstacles to really produce on the highest professional stage. And of course, Shaquem Griffin, he comes to mind, taking into consideration the fact that he has one hand. Unfortunately, he hasn't had the amount of playing time that one would have hoped for. However, I will never forget his combine when he put up monster numbers. The other thing that I thought was really cool was when you looked at his ability to bench press, he had a device allowing him to push the bar up with his left arm and still managed to really produce. So really happy to pick this one up. I think I picked this one up for $4. So happy for that for sure. Next, potential start of my first football rainbow. I have this Rex Burkhead camo from Topps Chrome. Real benefits to starting a Rex Burkhead rainbow of his rookie card year. First is the fact that it's Rex Burkhead, and I have Rex Burkhead's game use glove with the New England Patriots. The other things that come into play is the fact that this gives me a chance to collect more Topps Chrome. Topps no longer produces football-based products due to the licensure piece, but I've always loved Topps Chrome football. The other real benefit is the fact that it's pretty cheap to shoot for Rex Burkhead stuff. As a Patriots running back, he is one of about 4 guys who has an opportunity to get the ball, and game in, game out, you never really know who is going to be the person who's going to produce that game. And this one, of course, with the camo, it's numbered out of 499, and this is 496 out of 499. Next, someone who doesn't get a ton of hobby love, however, I think is one of the most important offensive players for the New England Patriots, James White. This, of course, is the Topps Chrome on-card auto rookie card. What's fantastic about James White is the fact that he produces. He is your go-to out of the backfield pass catching back who is phenomenal, especially when it comes to screens. Without James White, we would not have found ourselves in a position to win the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons, one of the greatest comebacks of all time. The other thing that's important with James White is the fact that he is currently a free agent. I am hopeful that the New England Patriots will re-sign him. However, what always seems to happen is the Patriots know exactly when to let a guy go. That was very evident previously when it came to Shane Vereen, who had filled a similar role to James White. Next, killer pickup here, literally, Aaron Hernandez. If you have watched the most recent documentary from Netflix, Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez, found that documentary to be incredibly interesting. What I also found to be incredibly interesting was the response that former players, friends, and family had of the documentary. If you have not yet watched the documentary, certainly give it a go, but also go through the process and look at the response that other people had to the documentary. I think this is very much a situation where no one is going to have the full understanding in regards to what led Aaron Hernandez to live that type of lifestyle, leading to all those murders. Next, looking at a Michael Kopech pickup, a Topps Chrome Refractor auto. Really love this. He was a former Red Sox prospect and a pitcher. And as a pitching prospect, he's one of the top ones in the game at this point in time. Last year, he had Tommy John surgery. And so this year, he's looking to jump back into the swing of things. He's someone who I had as a dark horse candidate for Rookie of the Year. So a couple things that are going to be going against him if he's shooting for Rookie of the Year. First, the White Sox state that they're going to have him on a pitch count and an innings limit, which certainly makes sense taking into consideration the surgery. And with the amount of talent that the White Sox have, they want to try to preserve all of their prospects to the best of their ability. So while I still think he has a chance to have a great year, I personally do not think he's going to be in a position to have the number of opportunities to produce the stats that are going to be required to really give it an honest go for Rookie of the Year. So, former Red Sox prospect, a stud, and we're going to go from that to a mini breakdown in regards to some failed prospects for the Red Sox. And really, explanation into what the heck happened. So first, we're going to start off with Blake Swihart. Now, Blake Swihart was a catching prospect for the Boston Red Sox, and to be quite honest, the system ruined him. Things that came into play as a catching prospect coming up, they wanted to try to rush his opportunity to come to the majors, taking into consideration the production of Sandy Leon and Christian Vasquez. As a result, they tried to play him in this super utility role. What people don't seem to understand is that for a young prospect, putting them through the ringer of sorts and trying to learn all these new positions, I can't imagine how you would ever feel comfortable. Last year, he played with the Arizona Diamondbacks and then was in a position where he was released late in the season. He actually signed an invite to spring training with the Texas Rangers, and I really hope he gets an opportunity to play. I've always been a huge Blake Swihart fan, and I really wish him the best. Now, as I've talked about before, I am a special education teacher, I was a special education teacher, and now I'm in special education administration within my school department. One of the things that has come up so often as of late is the high increase in anxiety and the impact that it's having, to be honest, on kids' ability to access their education. And it's actually starting to really take more of a role within the sports field as well. Kevin Love has gone through the process and talked about the impact anxiety has had on his life. Zach Greinke has also illustrated the fact that he has suffered from some anxiety. Brian Johnson, a pitching prospect for the Boston Red Sox, has also struggled with anxiety. And you talk about a position where it naturally produces anxiety, and you're looking at a pitcher. Really, a pitcher who's on the mound, all eyes are on them. What happens throughout the course of the game is really dependent upon their ability to get the ball across the plate, where they're placing the ball, things of that nature, following game plan, etc., etc. And Brian Johnson, he was recently removed from the 40-man roster. He then re-signed a deal with the Red Sox, which I believe was either just an invite or was a minor league contract, something of the sort. But based off of the Red Sox, based off of their bullpen at this point in time, I really do expect to see Brian Johnson as a member of that bullpen, and I really do wish him the best. Going on from there, a former Red Sox pitching prospect who never really panned out, Henry Owens. Back in 2014, I was living in and around Portland, Maine. Henry Owens was a member of the Portland Sea Dogs that year, and he really put up some phenomenal numbers. I think he was in the running for Eastern League Pitcher of the Year, but he had a great season. I often would go down after the end of the school day, and I would try to catch some night games as they presented themselves. And I remember seeing one game, of course, Portland, Maine, start of the season. It was gross and nasty, but he went in about, I think it was near the very end of the 7th inning or 8th inning, and he had a no-hitter going. Actually, I think it was a perfect game, but then he gave up a hit and went from there. But I really do wish Henry Owens the best. Last I heard, I think he was just in a position where he's just fighting to continue to play ball. Not sure if that was necessarily at the independent league level, but really do wish him the best. Next, former Red Sox prospect who I thought was going to re-sign potentially this offseason, Travis Shaw. Travis Shaw was sent from the Red Sox to the Milwaukee Brewers for a closer who never really panned out. Travis Shaw put up some pretty decent numbers his first year. Unfortunately, Travis Shaw is really a player who I don't think is ever going to be in a position where he is your go-to starter day in and day out. He's really a platoon candidate at first base for an opportunity for him to really switch out depending on the pitching matchup that day. Really do hope the best for Travis Shaw. Was always a nice player. I had a chance to meet him on a couple of occasions when he was with the Sea Dogs. Always a stand-up caliber player. I wish you the best with the Blue Jays, as long as you don't impact my Red Sox. Going from failed Red Sox prospects to the glory days, picked up this Upper Deck Choice rookie class of Mike Lowell. Really nice autograph. I've been looking to add a Mike Lowell collection for quite some time. One of the things that I always think about with Mike Lowell is when we refer back to the Josh Beckett trade, Mike Lowell was really thrown in as an extra piece, more so numbers-wise and cash-wise. They threw him in, but really, you could make the argument that Mike Lowell was the more impactful player at that point in time. Not at that point in time, but years later, reflecting on both of their production with the Red Sox. Next, one of my favorite Red Sox players growing up, Manny Ramirez. This is a Topps Heritage. Manny Ramirez will never get the Hall of Fame love that he deserves. Certainly there were questions that came into play in regards to steroid use, as is impacting quite a few players who are still up on the ballot. But I just love Manny. He was just so fun to watch, and he was the greatest hitter I have ever seen in person, bar none. And this actually is a serial number card. The card is based off of the 1957 design, so you have 1636 out of 1957. Love that card. All right, now jumping into some basketball pickups. First one, I mentioned earlier how I have a ton of this guy's rookie cards, Buying low, another situation of buying low, Harry Giles. Harry Giles with the Kings right now. A lot of turmoil going on with the Kings as Buddy Hield was just put on the bench. I think one thing that's huge with Harry Giles is it seems like based off his production and based off of all word that's been coming out of the Kings organization is he's a player who's just going to put his head down and he's going to play to the best of his ability. One thing that's big with Harry Giles to remember is the fact that in high school, when he was being recruited, he was the go-to guy. He was more sought after than Jason Tatum. So I always think to myself, this could be a player, if he can get his health situation in check, can work within the minute limit that they have on him, he could be really a productive player. He's also someone who secretly, as a Celtics fan, I continue to keep my eyes on due to his relationship with Jason Tatum and our need for a big. Going from there, other basketball pickups, I have this Disco Donruss Optic rated rookie of Semi Ojeleye. Now, Semi Ojeleye, with the Red Sox, sorry, not the Red Sox, with the Celtics, he is never going to be a player who's going to put up a ton of points. And I think the reason is he's a player who's always going to play within the system. Personally, I believe that if he was with a team who was looking for buckets, who was looking for points, I think Shemi would be a guy who would come out and he would produce. Another thing that's big with Semi Ojeleye is that he is a player who could really fill that 3 and D role. As of recent, he's really been hitting the 3 ball, so I really have big hopes for Shemi. Another thing that comes into play if they give Shemi is the fact that he has been in a position to guard Giannis by history of the past couple of years, and when he's been in that position, he's done a pretty good job. So kudos to Shemi. Next, a player I am huge on. Tremont Waters. So, Tremont Waters hails from LSU. He signed a two-way deal with the Celtics. He has previously won, I believe, Defensive Player of the Year as like a 5'7" guard. And he's producing with the Maine Red Claws. The big thing with him, people always question his production and whether he was going to be able to really put up numbers. Down in Maine, he has found the ability to get to the hoop whenever he wants. He has also been able to shoot the 3. Not only shoot the 3, but shoot the 3 off the dribble. Another thing that's really cool with Tremont Waters is the fact that he's playing with Taco Fall, with the Maine Red Claws, and their pick and roll combination has really been called, I believe it's the Waterfall. Tremont Waters, Taco Fall. That's just an awesome name. I'm really hopeful that next year maybe there's an opportunity for both Tremont Waters and Taco Fall to be within the Boston Celtics rotation solely so I can hear made reference to the Waterfall. Next, picked this one up actually a couple of weeks ago, and I got this pretty inexpensive. This is from Immaculate Collection, from Panini's Immaculate Collection, Enes Kanter, numbered 12 out of 15. So when I picked this up, this was before the Rob Williams injury, and Enes Kanter wasn't getting a ton of playing time. It's actually really awesome because, of course, after I picked this up, he's had a ton of playing time. And he's also put up a ton of points. Not only points, but also rebounds. That has been one of the biggest issues for the Boston Celtics the past couple of years. Is the effort needed to go and get rebounds. Especially based off of the offensive rebound statistics. Enes Kanter is phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about him. Hopefully, as we have Rob Williams come back from injury, they'll be able to share that time on a more consistent basis. So, the last thing that I'm going to show off here is a TTM from about 10 months prior. This is again off of the Hero Decks playing card set, New England Patriots. And of course we have guard Logan Mankins. Logan Mankins was a beast. Of course, having the opportunity to work with Dante Scarnecchia is a real benefit to guards. And he was a stud. And I believe Logan Mankins is another case where stayed with the Patriots, put up great numbers. As a free agent, think it's a huge deal, and then away from the Patriot system, does not produce like he had previously. Again, if you are a fan of TTM, you need to look at the Hero Deck set. Go ahead and Google Hero Decks. You can find them of your favorite teams for some of the top players. And you're looking at about $12 for a deck of cards with a great art style, and also based off the backgrounds, the autographs certainly pop. So really great addition to the collection. So sorry about the time frame, guys. Did a lot of yapping at you. Real quick, want to let you know a couple things that are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. I actually purchased some Top Sapphire that I'm sending out for TTM. Picked up some other nice cards I'm shooting for TTM. Gonna send those out here later this week. Other things that are coming up, we have a card show coming up in a couple weeks that I'm going to go to. And I'm really looking to pick up some prospects, as well as maybe Tremont Waters. Huge fan of. Curious to see what I can find of him there. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Wish you the best, and I'll talk to you soon.